Hey everybody, it's Joe from Greenlight Sound, and in today's episode we've got to look at a really simple trick to get your snare drum and kick drum parts sounding fantastic using a simple 3-band EQ, the Neve 1073. I have the UAD Neve 1073 that I'll be using in this example, but you could use any of the other countless emulations of this classic EQ that you choose. I'll show you how to use it on kick, I'll show you how to use it on snare top, and I'll show you how we can mimic the snare settings on a stock EQ if you don't happen to have a Neve emulation. So the first thing is to take a look at it on snare drum. On snare, the settings are really simple. We're going to do a high pass filter at 50 Hertz. One of the unique things about the Neve plugins is that they have fixed frequencies for the bottom two bands here, the low shelf and the mid parametric band, but the really musical choices here. You've got 60 Hertz, 110, 220. 220 is perfect for snare body. That's what we'll use it on for snare. We're also going to push 7.2K a little bit, and this is a 12K fixed shelf. Doesn't show that on the knob, but that's what it is in these Neve 1073s. So 12K shelf here, we're pushing a little bit. Notice the gain we're boosting is about the same. You're looking at about the 7 or 730 range on the knob, almost in the same direction for all three. So we've got a little boost at 220. The Neves don't show you the exact boost, but if you look up here in Studio One, you can kind of see it's almost 5 dB a boost. Little push at 7.2K. Little push at that 12K shelf. I pulled back the output a bit to kind of level match. Here's the snare part without any plugin, without any EQ. And here it is with the Neve. So much more body to the sound, so much more high-end snap. It just sounds a lot better. I'll toggle it on and off as it plays. Let me find a spot where the snare is more. So a huge transformation in tone just from that simple high-pass filter and 3-band EQ. Very easy to do. You can get a really similar effect on kick drum. Really similar settings too on the EQ, except you're not going to use the high-pass filter at all. And the settings for the bottom band are a bit different. Instead of a 220 for the body and the snare, you're going to push a little bit of 60 Hertz for that bottom end of the kick drum. But again, a little push at 7.2K and a little push, not quite as much in the top end of that 12K fixed shelf. Here's the kick-in mic without EQ. And with the Neve. I'll turn it on and off as it plays. You could push that high-end snap a little more. So that little boost you're getting at that 60 Hertz range is really getting some meat to the bottom end. If you're listening on a good set of speakers or headphones, you can really hear it. And you get that snap from the 7.2K and 12K boost. Now let's say you don't have a Neve emulation. What we could do then is sort of try to match the curves here. I'm going to go back to our snare drum part. When I ran this Neve emulation through Plugin Doctor, here is the curve with these snare settings that we have here. You can see there's a really sharp cutoff for that 50 Hertz high pass filter, really broad boost at 220, and the 7.2K and 12K shelves kind of meld themselves together into this giant boost here of almost 7.5 dB, all in the top end, starting at looks like about 1K. So this really big, broad boosts. When I try to match that on a stock EQ, let me bypass the Neve first, I came up with something in this ballpark. The EQ looks a little different because it's a wider spectrum on the EQ here, so it doesn't look quite the same as the Plugin Doctor, but it's the same principles. Sharp cutoff, 48 dB per octave, broad boost at 220. There's a little bit of a mid-emphasis here that I brought out with this middle band here, and that 7.2K and 12K shelf combined together to a pretty big boost at the top end, and a little bit of cutoff, a little roll-off here that was in the chart as well. So here it is without this plug-in at all. And with. So you can get in the ballpark of what the boost was on the Neve. Now, the Neve does sound different. If I jump back and forth between the two of them, you'll see. I'll keep them both up on the screen so we can see them both. I'm going to use the power buttons over here to engage. We're going to start with the Neve. So the Neve definitely sounds better. You can hear a little bit more saturation in it, mostly because the Neve is modeling the circuitry and that analog mojo of the Neve EQ, the 1073, and the Pro EQ from PreSonus is a clean EQ. So they're going to sound different because of that reason, but you can sort of get in the ballpark matching the curves there. So there it is, a really simple tip on how to use a Neve 1073 EQ. Sometimes having just a very limited amount of options like these Neve EQs have forces you to make some choices instead of having unlimited options like a lot of modern EQs. And if you're judicious about your choices and really think about what you want to boost, you can get some great tones out of that Neve 1073, and that's what makes it a classic. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to let me know down below in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in the next one.